BTSnews.today.in. The ever-evolving story of BTS. Few questions ignite as much discussion as the role of Park Jimin. Known for his emotive performances, distinctive voice, and an almost ineffable ability to connect with audiences, Jimin has long been considered one of the group's emotional anchors. So when moments arise where his presence feels diminished or temporarily absent from the public eye, the question inevitably surfaces: is Jimin indispensable? And what does his absence mean for BTS's future? The notion of absence in BTS has taken on new layers in recent years. Between military enlistments, solo projects, and the natural ebb and flow of global schedules, fans have become accustomed to seeing the group appear in fragments rather than as a constant whole. Yet Jimin's absence, whether real or perceived, seems to reverberate differently. It is not merely about missing a member on stage or in a broadcast. It is about the emotional texture he brings to the group's identity. From the earliest days of BTS, Jimin's role was unique. While RM provided intellectual leadership, Jin grounded the group with warmth, Suga brought introspection, J-Hope radiated energy, V added depth and color, and Jungkook embodied versatility. Jimin often stood at the intersection of vulnerability and precision. His performances were not just technically impressive, they were confessional. He danced as if telling a secret and sang as if revealing something fragile. Over time, this quality became inseparable from BTS's artistic language. When Jimin steps back, even briefly, that language shifts. Performances may remain flawless, choreography sharp, and vocals strong, yet fans often describe a subtle emotional gap. This reaction is not a critique of the remaining members' abilities, but rather a testament to how deeply Jimin's presence has been woven into the group's emotional narrative. His absence highlights how BTS is not simply a sum of 7 interchangeable parts, but a delicate balance of distinct energies. However, to frame the discussion solely around indispensability risks misunderstanding BTS's core philosophy. The group has always emphasized unity over hierarchy. Each member has experienced moments of prominence and moments of retreat, and each absence has tested the group's resilience. When Jin enlisted, questions arose about stability. When Suga faced health challenges, fans wondered about continuity. Each time, BTS adapted, rediscovered balance, and proved that their strength lies in collective flexibility. Jimin's case invites a more nuanced examination. His solo work, particularly releases that showcased his introspective side, demonstrated that his artistry could stand independently while still echoing BTS's emotional themes. At the same time, these projects revealed how much of his identity is intertwined with the group. Rather than signaling a drift away from BTS, Jimin's individual growth appeared to reinforce his role within it, suggesting that absence can sometimes deepen presence. The reaction from fans during periods of reduced visibility is telling. Social media fills with analyses of past performances, renewed appreciation for subtle gestures, and heightened anticipation for his return. This cycle underscores not only affection but reliance. Jimin has become, for many, a lens through which BTS's emotional journey is interpreted. When that lens is temporarily removed, the picture feels incomplete, even if still compelling. Looking toward the future, the question is not whether BTS can function without Jimin, because history suggests they can adapt to any configuration. The more meaningful question is how his presence shapes the version of BTS that emerges next. As the group transitions into a new chapter marked by maturity, reflection, and renewed togetherness, Jimin's artistry may take on even greater significance. His ability to convey vulnerability aligns with a phase where BTS is increasingly open about personal growth, uncertainty, and resilience. Industry observers often note that longevity in global music depends on evolution rather than constancy. BTS's willingness to explore absence, both literal and thematic, may be one of their greatest strengths. Jimin's temporary distance from the spotlight can be seen not as a weakening, but as a recalibration, allowing each member to return with clearer purpose. In this sense, absence becomes a tool rather than a threat. Yet, the emotional truth remains that Jimin's return consistently feels like restoration. When he reappears alongside the members, there is a palpable shift, a sense of completeness that resonates beyond choreography or vocals. It is the reunion of energies that have grown together through years of shared struggle and success. This reaction does not diminish the others. It elevates the collective. So, is Jimin indispensable? The answer depends on how one defines the term. BTS can endure without him in the short term, adapt creatively, and continue to inspire millions. But in the deeper, emotional architecture of the group, Jimin represents something irreplaceable. He is not indispensable in the sense of exclusivity or dependency, but in the way a particular color is indispensable to a painting's final harmony. As BTS moves forward, balancing individual aspirations with collective identity, Jimin's role will likely continue to evolve. His absences will prompt reflection, his returns will spark renewal, and his presence will remind audiences why BTS's story has resonated so profoundly. In examining his absence, we gain clearer insight into the group's future, one defined not by the fear of missing pieces, but by the strength of a bond that allows each member to step away, grow, and return transformed. Ultimately, Jimin's indispensability lies not in the impossibility of BTS without him, but in how much richer BTS becomes when he is there. As the discussion continues, it becomes clear that Jimin's perceived indispensability is closely tied to the emotional contract BTS has formed with its audience over more than a decade. BTS is not consumed only as music. It is experienced as a narrative of growth, friendship, hardship, and healing. Within that narrative, Jimin has often embodied emotional honesty. His tears on stage, his self-doubt shared in documentaries, and his quiet perseverance have allowed fans to see themselves reflected in him. When he is absent, that mirror feels momentarily removed, and fans are left confronting the story from a different emotional angle. This is why speculation surrounding Jimin's absence often becomes so intense. It is rarely rooted in rational concern about performance quality or commercial success. BTS has proven repeatedly that they can dominate charts and stages under any configuration. Instead, the concern is symbolic. Fans worry not because they doubt BTS's capability, but because Jimin's presence reassures them that the emotional core of the group remains intact. His voice, both literal and metaphorical, often carries a softness that balances the group's power, reminding listeners that vulnerability and strength are not opposites. From a broader industry perspective, this dynamic is rare. Many long-running groups struggle when individual members develop strong identities that threaten collective cohesion. BTS, however, has managed to turn individual growth into a reinforcing mechanism. Jimin's absence highlights his value, but it also reveals the group's confidence. BTS does not rush to replace emotional roles or force substitutes. They allow the space to exist, trusting that absence will eventually resolve into reunion. There is also an important cultural layer to this conversation. In K-pop, idols are often expected to be constantly visible, constantly present, and endlessly productive. Jimin's moments of stepping back challenge this expectation. They suggest a shift towards sustainability, where presence is meaningful precisely because it is not constant. For BTS's future, this approach may be crucial. Longevity in the global music industry requires not only talent, but the freedom to rest, reflect, and return renewed. As BTS prepares for a future shaped by post-military reunions and a redefined global landscape. Jimin's role may evolve beyond what fans have previously known. His artistry may lean further into introspection, his performances into subtlety rather than spectacle. In this context, his absence becomes part of a larger rhythm, one that mirrors life itself. Moments of closeness, moments of distance, and the profound impact of coming back together. Ultimately, examining Jimin's absence does not lead to fear about BTS's future, but to clarity about its strength. BTS is resilient because each member is allowed to be fully human. Jimin's indispensability lies not in constant presence, but in the depth he brings when he is there. His absence reminds fans why his presence matters, and his return reaffirms why BTS, as 7 distinct yet inseparable individuals, continues to endure. In that sense, Jimin is not the pillar holding BTS upright, but the heartbeat that reminds everyone why the structure exists at all.
To give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling